This is all the components and the tools needed to install it. Your Phillips number 2, a T20 Torx, a 3/8 drill, a 3/4 inch drill or 19 millimeter, some pliers, and the factory Allen screw. The components include the switch, the reed switch, the magnet that turns it on and off, the light, this is just a cable guide, and then also the drill templates. So you got the 3/4 inch drill template for the switch, and then the drill template for the back for the cable routing, and then the screws that hold it in place. I include 2 because if you're like me, the first one you're going to torque off. Well, let's get into installing it. First and most important, what we want to do is unplug the saw. Now we can start taking it apart. We'll start by taking the blade guard and then the blade off. So go ahead and remove 1, 2, and then 3 screws to get the blade guard off, and then we'll take the blade out. And support the blade guard as you take the top screw out. And just set that off to the side. Now we'll take the blade off. So push the button on the back side to lock the blade, and then clockwise to loosen on this one. I've got the Shop Nation dust collection, so I've got to remove that because it puts a small range for the blade to move. Okay, now you can bring the saw back down, lock it in place. We're going to drill the hole. So I've already drilled the hole on mine because I was testing it out, but the way you're going to do it is there's a drill template that's included. So you'll slide it on here so the profile will match the back. There's a center hole. So what I recommend is marking your location, and then drilling a small hole where that marks at. And if you've got a center punch, that would be good so it doesn't try to walk off. But mark your location, drill your hole with a small hole, say an 1/8 inch, maybe even smaller, and then you can come back and then you're going to re-drill that with a 3/8 drill bit. So you run the 3/8 hole on the back side of this. Once you have the hole drilled, we can install the light. This is the light. So what you do is start with the cable side, and we're going to run it from the bottom out the hole that we drilled. And then we'll install it with the light facing towards the blade, and then just slide it in. It should be a snug fit to stay in place. Now we'll get our, okay, I brought it in camera view this time. I'm going to show you again. So you put the threaded screw on, just run it past this first part, you might twist it there. Once it's on, you just slide it all the way down until it comes out the other side. And then we'll just thread it in And it shouldn't thread difficult. If it does, then it might be crooked. It is a plastic screw. Just be gentle with it. It doesn't need to be super tight, but snug it up. That's your wire coming out. Now we're going to feed it through this side. Now what we want to do is feed it in between these two little bars that are come across here. So right in the middle. Feed it in there. And a little bit we'll install the clip that goes on here, but I'll show you that in a minute. Now we want to feed it through the hole that's on the back side, so let me show you that angle. This angle is difficult to catch with my camera, but below the power wire coming in, there's a little, say, 1/4 inch hole. So we're going to run it inside of that hole. Okay, now on the other side of the saw, we're going to take these 2 screws out, and then we'll pull that wire through. This is just the cover plate for the belt. And here's our wire. So we'll just pull this till it's snug. And then we're going to take the screws out for the handle. So we got 4 screws up here. And then we have 3 screws on the bottom. So we'll flip this up on the bottom side here. We got 3 more screws. We'll take these out. With all 7 screws out, we'll just take the top off. And then you're going to flip your lid upside down so you can take your screws out. Alright, next we'll start running the wires through. I'll show you how to drill the template for the switch, and then we'll get it connected. Move this one. Again, make sure your saw is unplugged because you'll be dealing with wires that, if your saw is plugged in, are live. So just move this one out of the way, bring the wire we got in here, run it underneath there, inside here, and then we'll run it right out into this area here. Now your saw is going to have a little clear kind of white connector here. It'll have a crimp in one location. If you use your pliers to squeeze across the opposite side of that, you squeeze it and then pull. You should be able to squeeze it until you can pull it off of there. And then you'll be left with a connection like this. So your kit will include a wire nut, so that way you can rewire nut this in, because we're going to actually connect this power wire to that connection there. Alright, next we're going to install the reed switch. So down inside here, let me see if I can get that in there. There's a screw down there. So we're going to take that screw out. If you need to move the switch forward, you can. This is your safety switch, so you can't pull the trigger without activating the safety switch first. And this was actually what will turn your light on if you choose. You'll take your magnet piece, it's got the little hole here. We'll put the screw inside of there, and then we'll move our switch forward and screw it back in. This doesn't need to be super tight, just slightly snug, and that'll hold that in place. Now we install the reed switch, so we'll take these 2 screws out here. This is the reed switch. We'll take these 2 screws out. We'll set this reed switch inside here. And then we'll put the 2 screws back in. And don't tighten them up yet, because we're going to have to adjust the setting to where it needs to be. So to be able to work correctly, it needs to be exactly aligned with the magnet. And so this has a slot so it can move back and forth. And to make sure you get it exactly aligned, and your kit is a red alignment shim. And so what we'll do is we'll put that alignment shim in to make sure it's set right. So here's the alignment shim. So what we'll do is slide this till it's in alignment with the switch. And then just put it in place. And that's where it needs to be. And then we'll just tighten this up. So when you tighten it, go ahead and put pressure, forcing it back to the back side. Not a lot, but just a little bit of pressure because we want it to be all the way against the switch. And then make sure to take this out. You don't want to leave that in there because it won't work. But make sure you're in alignment. All good. Okay, and take it out. All right, now we're going to wire in this switch. So let me give you a better view. Okay, so we're going to take the red wire that's in here. We're just going to lift it up and out. What we're going to do is run our wire in place underneath it. So we'll slide it in, and it'll fit into these slots. It might be a little tight, but it'll fit down in that slot. So just run it into the slot there. And put the red wire back in the slots. So let's do that. And then put the red wire back in. Okay. Now there's a little black wire loose that has a ring on the end of it. Now we're going to take this black wire that's inside the handle, the kind of dark gray wire, and we'll just pull it up and out. And we want to run this wire in that slot where this one was at. So put the yellow wire back in, put the black wire in, and then put the gray wire back in. And then black wire in the slot, gray wire in the slot. That holds it into place, keeps it looking factory. Black wire in, gray wire in. And we'll do this all the way around. Once it gets to here, sorry, did I have that out of view? Once it gets to here, just keep running it through the slots. We'll do a T20 to take this loose, and then we'll put this on the back side. We'll take the T20 screw out. And take this wire off. Put the screw back in, put this one in through there, and we'll put it back on. Okay. That's everything for the reed switch. Now we're going to connect the switch. It'll be on, off, or constant light on, I guess off, and then the reed or safety switch to turn it on and off. That's what the three-way switch does. So to connect it, we've got the black wire that's coming from the switch. We have the black wire that's coming from the light. and so we'll just connect those two. So we have to say that again. Black wire coming from where the switch is. We have the black wire that's coming from the light. And so we'll use our Wago connector, flip them up to 90, and then on this side we'll insert them. So insert this one, they'll go in about 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll insert this one, just flip them down, holds it nice and snug. That'll fit down inside here. Now with your wire nut, you'll take this wire that you already have bare, you'll take the red wire that was coming from the light coming in and just wrap it around towards the tip, and then you'll add your wire nut and just tighten it down. And just spin it until it gets tight. Alright. And then for this one, I like to tuck it back in behind here. And then we'll run our wire for the switch underneath everything we can. Just bring it all the way back. And then we'll run this one, which is our main power wire here. Back in where it was. If this one came back out, just make sure it goes back in. Okay. There's everything back in, just like it was. Alright, now we're going to drill the hole in the handle. So my handle already had a hole because I had a different switch here, but we're going to drill it out to a 19mm or a 3/4 inch hole for the 3-way switch. So to do that, there is a drill template for this. It's got 2 spots where they go into the holes right here for the bottom 2 screws. Puts it right in place. And then what we'll do is we'll drill a small hole, and then we'll drill the 19mm. Like I said, mine already has a hole here, so I'm just going to go drill the 19 or 3/4 inch hole, and then we'll be able to install our switch. Okay, for this, we're just going to drill our 3/4 inch hole. You can start with a small hole if you want. So there's our hole. I'm going to clean that up, and then we'll be able to put our switch in there. Okay, with our hole drilled out, we'll put this back. Fit your switch before you try to hook it all up, but let's do this again. So now we'll run up. Okay, now we'll hook up our wires to the switch. So to the number 1 post, we're going to put the red wire, and then to the center post, we'll put the black wire, and then to the number 2 post, we'll put the yellow wire. Just make sure your little shields are up on the to protect the wires from contacting each other. And then with these pointing that direction, we'll install the switch back in. There we go. Now we'll start cleaning it back up and putting it together. If you want, we can put a couple of screws back in, and then test the switches to make sure they're working. So let's put a screw in here. And we'll take one of these screws and we'll put it back in the bottom side on this corner. So now all of our live power is encased again. And we can plug it in to test it out. So plug it in. Right now the switch is off. It's in the center. If I turn it to 1 this side, it should turn the light on. And that's on, consistent. If you turn it to the right side, that's the trigger switch. So if I move this left or right, it should turn the light on. Works great. Let's put it back together. Let's go ahead and make sure to unplug it because we're going to be putting the blade back in. So make sure to unplug it, and we'll start putting all the screws back in. So we have 4 screws up here. We put 1 in, so we're going to put the other 3 in. Okay. Now we'll check our wire that's over here on this side. Everything looks good. It's out of the way, not going to contact the belt. So we'll put this plate back on. Now we can install our little wire guide or wire clip. It has an up, and because the upside is a little bit thicker than the bottom. So what we'll do is just peel these little red protectors off. Might be the hardest part of the install. Okay, I'm back. Finally got them off. So now we're going to go ahead and lift the saw back up. You see our wire right here. So we want to have the up facing up, and we want to run this. There's a little ledge right here. We want to kind of run that wire right there on that ledge. And just put the wire clip right here. The wire's not tight in there, it'll move if it needs to. But we're just going to run it right there, and then press and hold it firmly for maybe 10-15 seconds. And this just holds it out of the way, so as the blade guard moves back and forth, it doesn't come in contact with the blade guard at all. Okay. Now we'll put our blade back in. Blade back in. Got our blade lock. Be careful on touching the teeth, they can be sharp. So just use the wrench to turn it, push the pin in until it locks in, and then we'll snug our blade in. Then we'll put our blade guard back on. Oh, I thought you know that everybody's eating dinner. Let's get it fit. That's good. Let's start everything up. And that's it. We should be ready to test it out. Let's grab a piece of wood. Plug the saw back in. Turn the switch on. And there we go. There's our shadow line. And if we want to use the switch to activate, All good to go?